So you remember about a month ago when we were doing Enchantress videos and I said that I only wanted to do a voice line video for Enchantress because I figured I might as well because I'm almost definitely going to do one for TMNT. And I was like, well, there's only 2 more characters left, I may as well do them. Turns out TMNT is 4 characters. I'm going to have to do 4 voice line videos for all 4. Well, not 4 for each, but yeah, you get the idea. 1 for Leonardo, 1 for Michelangelo, 1 for Raphael, 1 for Donatello. For the first episode, I decided to pick my favorite of the 4, and that is Leonardo. I like Leonardo for a lot of reasons, which I'll get into in this video. But before I get into that part of the video, I want you to know that if you are particularly a Michelangelo fan, or if you're a Donatello fan, or a Raphael fan, you can go into the comments right now and leave hashtag and insert that character's name. Make sure you spell it correctly or else your vote will not count, and whichever one gets the most hashtags, I'm gonna go ahead and do their video tomorrow. I might even do 2 people tomorrow, I'm not quite sure. I don't know, I'll have to figure it out because I need videos to go up on the weekend and I can't record on weekends, but don't worry, I'll figure it out. Just get those hashtags in those comments. Or if you have no preference, don't even bother leaving a comment and new videos will come out anyway. Let's jump straight into it. Well, what exactly is it? I'm talking about my 10 favorite voice line interactions, specifically intro dialogues with Leonardo and Injustice 2. Starting off with this interaction with your boy, well, with a particular boy, Hellboy.
Bet that shell comes in handy.
Against the right hand of doom? You bet.
Don't worry, I won't crack it.
I like that so much because A, it shows that there's kind of a mutual respect between the two. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that interaction very much sounds like they're sparring. They're not going into like a fight, right? Even to the point where Hellboy says, don't worry, I won't break your shell. I just kind of like that dynamic, and I really hope that NetherRealm games continue to strive, because hopefully in the future, when they do characters like this, and they do like the announcement trailers and stuff, they can be much more cinematic. Kind of like the way that we got the Adam and Enchantress fight in Fighter Pack 3. I would have loved to have seen like a full-on cinematic fight with TMNT versus Hellboy. I think that would have been crazy cool to see. Especially if they went all out with it and actually showed one of the turtles with a cracked shell after Hellboy had punched it. That would have been pretty awesome. Regardless, pretty cool scene indeed. Moving on to an interaction with one of his brothers, Donatello.
Need to crawl out of the lab, bro.
Want those weapons built or not, Leo?
What good are they if you can't fight, Donnie?
I love this interaction because it shows off a little bit of both of their characters. It shows Donatello, who's very much concerned about the lab and all of the science things he has going on. He doesn't think that the only way you can solve problems is through pure brawn, where Leonardo is very much like, hey, I want to make sure you're up to shape. I want to make sure you're still ready to fight if need be. And I also like the subtle jab of like, can you even fight? Get good, scrub. I mean, that's not what he said, but there's some type of implication there. They're like, I'm better than you, all right? It's subtle, but it's definitely there. He literally says, what good are they if you can't fight? I would feel offended. If my brother said that to me, I would be upset. Moving on to an interaction from another guest character. So far, all of the interactions have been with guest characters, man. But let's check it out.
I want to study combat with the best.
You could learn much from a Grand Master.
Teach me, Sub-Zero.
Such cool implications come out of this piece of intro dialogue. First of all, you got Leonardo seeking out Sub-Zero for training, and then Sub-Zero being so willing to take him on as a pupil is just awesome. Big fan of that indeed. NetherRealm definitely deserves props for this one. I like this one. I just would love to see, again, that idea of seeing Sub-Zero and Leonardo, especially this version of Sub-Zero who uses so many swords, go head on. Oh, that would be awesome to actually see. Also, I wonder how different Leonardo would be after training from Sub-Zero. So many questions. This next one, whilst it has been done before, you'll see what I mean when we get to it, I think it's particularly pretty awesome when done to the turtles.
Perhaps you are Titan's material.
We're definitely interested, Starfire.
Let's start your audition.
How cool is that? Not only was Starfire offering a branch to Leonardo, but it sounds like she was actually offering the entirety of TMNT to join the Titans, which is just wicked. Oh my god, imagine a Titans TMNT crossover to go beat up Shredder and some other dude. I would have loved to have seen interactions with Leonardo and Dick Grayson and the other Titan members, man. That would have been awesome. Very glad this interaction made it into the game. Next up, we have another turtle showing up. It's Michelangelo.
Come on and train with me, bro.
Dude, I could be gaming.
Not till you fight disciplined.
So many people seem to have this kind of attraction to Michelangelo. So many people love the Michelangelo character, and whilst I do enjoy him as a comedic relief, this is part of the reason I love Leonardo so much. Despite the fact that I am a gamer, so much of my life has gone into gaming and other media stuff. However, Leonardo knows when it's important. He knows when to drag Michelangelo away from those things and make sure that he's focused on his training. Something that I think I could learn from a little more, and I think most people also could learn from as well. Just a cool contrast of personalities in this one, so I had to include it. This next interaction could have been done with anybody, because there's quite a few people Leonardo says this one too, but I'm going to go with Atrocitus, just because I think it's the one that suits the best.
I'm guessing you're a mutant too?
Be silent, boy.
So much for being friendly.
You can see what I meant by that, right? It can be used by a lot of people. He actually calls quite a few people different mutants and things like that. I think he even calls Starfire a mutant, and then he ends up saying so much for being friendly. But I think it works particularly well with Atrocitus, because I think Atrocitus is somebody that the Turtles wouldn't initially be so repelled by, but after just speaking to him for like 1 second, they'd be like, yeah, you're not a friendly guy, are you? Because on face value, Atrocitus doesn't seem too different to what the Turtles are used to, right? I mean, they are literally turtle humanoid things. So seeing like a big red monster looking thing isn't too out of their world. Don't judge a book by its cover. Next up is the final turtle brother. Well, sort of, but we'll get into that in just a minute. Let's check out this interaction with Raphael.
That Atrocitus dude really likes you, Raph.
Don't worry, bro. I'm not that angry.
You will be after I beat you.
Now, I have not looked at the Raphael voice lines yet, but now I'm really hoping there's an interaction with Raphael and Atrocitus where Atrocitus tries to recruit Raphael, because it makes perfect sense. Raphael being the hothead of the group absolutely would make sense as a Red Lantern recruit, and I really hope that does exist, and even if it doesn't, I think this is a nice reference to what could have been. Now, in my previous clip, I said that that was going to be the final brother, and whilst I was sort of telling the truth, I was also sort of lying, because this next one is what happens in the mirror match. So technically this is the final brother, but it's a mirror match, so he's kind of already been in the video, and that's why I said that Raphael was the last brother. Don't worry, you get the point. Just listen to the voice line and enjoy it.
I'm hallucinating you, right? Won't know until you fight me, dude. I gotta lay off Mikey's garlic fudge pizza.
One thing I love about that is the way that they say dude. I already have dude as a part of my main vocabulary. I say it quite frequently, my dude. But ever since the Turtles have been added to Injustice 2, it's just become an even more common part of my vocabulary. They just say it so perfectly. I'm taking points away from Michelangelo as a pizza connoisseur. I think that he has no idea what he's talking about. Garlic fudge pizza sounds awful. This next interaction is, of course, with the God of Thunder, my boy Raiden. I say Raiden's my boy. He's not really my boy. I just feel a little bit protective of Raiden because everybody hated Raiden when he was announced, but I always was a bit protective of him because it's like, hey, guys, wait until we see the gameplay. He might have a really interesting moveset. What do you know? He had a really interesting moveset and a DC Premier skin, a Black Lightning Premier skin, nonetheless, a requested character in the previous games.
The White Lotus offers the hand of friendship.
The opportunity humbles me, Raiden.
Prove yourself worthy of the invitation.
I love it when, I mean, it can be any character, but in this case it's Raiden, offers recruiting to any of the characters that aren't in their particular world. So for example, we see this with Sub-Zero. He often tries to recruit people into his faction from Mortal Kombat. He specifically does that to the DC characters, which is pretty cool. Raiden does the same thing. I also like to see Starfire try to recruit people into the Titans, especially if it's a character that it would make specific sense for. And I think Leonardo is a perfect fit for the White Lotus. Well, in the world where the Turtles would actually exist in Mortal Kombat, which I don't think they ever will, but it would certainly be pretty awesome. We all knew that Batman had to have some specific interactions with Leonardo, well, not necessarily Leonardo, but all of the Turtles, and it turns out he has pretty good interactions from what I've seen so far. I haven't looked at the other characters. I looked at the one with Raphael, but that was just coincidence. But I'm really glad this next one's in here because it's just so good. I'll talk about it a little bit more once you've actually seen it.
I know exactly how to beat you.
You fought Ninja Turtles, Batman?
I'm full of surprises.
Oh, it's so cool. It's so cool. It has so many like multiverse implications. Like, oh, wait, he's versed other turtles before? Well, he didn't verse one of Leonardo's brothers, or else he would have known about it, right? Leonardo would have been told this information. Does that mean the turtles exist in the DC world? Well, not necessarily the DC world, but the Injustice world. Do they exist on one of the other multiverses that Batman has been to? What's going on? It doesn't make sense, but it sort of makes sense because it could be explained in the future, or it could have future implications. It probably doesn't, but regardless, it was a nice little thing to throw in. I thought it was cool. It made me happy, and it had this image in my head of Batman beating up Ninja Turtles, and it would make me happy. Even though I love both of the characters, I'm not even sure who I would want to win. Probably Batman, because Batman is just like the king. He just does everything. He beats Superman, for crying out loud, so he probably should beat the Turtles. But regardless, it would be a heck of a fight to watch. And also, this is obviously probably a reference to their comic book run. For people who don't know, TMNT has crossed over with Batman plenty of times in the comic books. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, let me know by leaving a like on the video. Again, comment down below what character you want to see next. Make sure you use a hashtag so I can count them easily. If you want to show even further appreciation, you can come over to my Patreon page. I offer a lot of different options if you want to support me even for just a little amount. Obviously, that's not required. If you just want to be a supporter by viewing my videos, remember to subscribe for future content. My name is Bilbsy, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.